now, from the station that's taking action, you're watching News Channel 3 at 5:30.
What a night. Torrential downpours, whipping winds, and the threat of tornadoes made for a very long night.
Yeah, News Channel 3 stayed on the air with you non-stop until well after 3 o'clock in the morning, and this is why. These powerful storms have the potential to cause some real damage and threaten lives. The roof of this gas station in Norfolk.
I get into the station about 2:30 in the afternoon. First thing we do, we go right into the editorial meeting. Well, first it's the producers meeting, so we go through every show, the 5, the 5:30, the 6, and we see what the stack up for the show is, if there's any special places that Pat or I have to be in, either in front of the chroma, anything that means we get up from the desk. We find out there. We also look if it's the right order for the show. We'll all sit down and decide if that's the way, it should go, or if there's any stories that we're missing out on. A lot of times, Pat and I will listen to like news radio on the way in, and if there's a story that, we thought was important, but it wasn't in the rundown yet, we'll all talk about it. Doesn't mean it's going to get in there, but we do that all in the meeting there. We always have a taking action story, so that's the first thing that we come up with, and usually that's a Blaine Stewart story. And from there, we come out here and we start reading scripts, and we'll read scripts until it's time to go out onto the set at 5 o'clock. Obviously, 5:30, 6, all the way to 6:30, we're sitting out there, we're doing the show. We've got our computers open because we don't always get to read through our 6 o'clock scripts because we're on the desk at the time that everything's getting finished up. So usually when Mike's in the middle of weather, we've got the computers open on the desk, looking and making sure we're familiar with everything we're going to read, because you don't want to read cold because we'll hiccup all over the place. After we wrap up the shows, we tape our topicals and our ID promos, which will promo what we're doing for the 11 o'clock show. A lot of times it'll be weather, one of the big local stories that we're doing. Mostly behind the scenes, we're idiots. I mean, when the commercials are on, we're goofy kind of people, so we have a lot of fun. There's a lot of wild stuff that goes on.
Anytime you can show a bloody Fabio, it's a good newscast, I'm telling you. We got to work that in as much as truck nuts.
But honestly, the worst part of this job, and I don't know if anybody else has told you this already, but we are regularly reporting on the worst of humanity and the most heart-wrenching moments. And I think that weighs on you a little bit. I think that there's a reason why journalists probably are the biggest drinkers of many professions, because sometimes at the end of the day you realize, my God, all day I've been focusing on a family of 5 that died in a logging truck accident, and it's depressing. It really weighs on you after a while. And so yeah, I'd say that's probably the worst of it. But you hope that those days are few and far between.
Right.
Weather ride. We're in for some big changes. Chief Meteorologist Mike Harvey's in the Live Viper Forecast Center with.
Favorite part? Boy, there's a couple things. I really like, the one thing that's different for me than if you're a journalist or a reporter or an anchor, they're in the newsroom with everybody else. And it's busy, and they're talking, and it's noisy. And when you're in weather, you're in the studio by yourself. You're very quiet, very solitude. You don't see anybody until people come out for the newscast. So whenever there's people to talk to, like you, I enjoy that a lot. So
That's coming up on News Channel 3 at 5:30.